Hi, I'm Mahira Wilson. This is Right Answers on Gospel channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about God who is transcendent. So this is a part of a worldview series that we started last week. There is an introduction video for this series last week. So in this video we are going to be talking about God's nature. So in this series we will be venturing about who is God, who is man, what is the connection between God and man, what are the different pillars of worldview about origin, morality, meaning and destiny of a man. All those things we will be venturing on, and in this video it's part of God's nature that we are talking about, God who is transcendent, and that is what we are going to be talking about in this video. If you are new to this channel, there are two purposes for our channel. One is to encourage another Christians walk with Christ, and also to introduce you to Christ if you are a non-Christian. Only those are the two purposes for this channel. If either one of this purpose interests you, please subscribe to our channel. Like I said, in this video we are going to be talking about God who is transcendent. So what do we mean when we say God is transcendent? We mean God is above and beyond this universe. So He is entirely distinct from this universe. So He is not this universe. So He is above and beyond the universe. So that is what we mean when we say God is transcendent. We mean God is above and beyond this universe. He is not the universe. So when we say that, what it means is, so we cannot worship the universe. So there are another set of beliefs who believe God is, the universe is God, but Christianity is not a belief like that. It is God. We worship the God who is above and beyond this universe, who is actually a creator of this universe. So God who created this universe is transcendent, because someone who is creating something cannot be part of it, right? He should be above and out of it. But there are other attributes that His glory fills the universe, and He is actually, His presence is everywhere in the universe. That's a different story. But when we say God Himself is not bound by the universe, that is what we mean when we say God is transcendent. And we also say when God is transcendent, we assume that He doesn't need a cause, because universe, as we know, is made up of matter, right? But God is not bound by time, space or matter. So that means God doesn't need a cause. But everything we see as we see it, and some things that we don't see as physical realm, physical universe, needs a cause, but God is out of it. So God is transcendent, so He doesn't need a cause. That is one thing that we assume when we say God is transcendent. And also that means God is self-existent. So that's why this argument about so if God created the universe, then who created God doesn't work, because God is not bound by time, space and matter, but everything, the universe is bound by time, space and matter. So it needs a creator, but God is out of it, so He doesn't need a creator. So in other words, God is beyond the things that we know, like matter, God is not something like matter that we understand that needs a cause. God is out of it, so we cannot compare God and matter that needs a creator. So matter, as we know, definitely needs someone to create it, but God is not a matter, so He doesn't need a creator. So that is what we assume. And God is also incomprehensible, because He is transcendent. A human being or a finite mind cannot totally comprehend Him. Even though you spend months, years, your entire life learning about attributes of God, there will be certain aspects of God that will always be mysterious, that is not revealed to us. So Nothing, everything about God will never be understood by a human mind. So it's always that God, attributes about God we know is what He chose to reveal to us. So there are certain attributes about God that we will never know, we will never understand, we will never fully comprehend who God is, because He is transcendent. That's what we mean when we say God is transcendent. We assume that He is incomprehensible. No matter how much we work in that area, we will never know God fully, at least in this side of eternity. And so that's what we assume. So when we say God is transcendent, we assume He is out of this universe, He is beyond this universe, He is entirely distinct from this universe, He is not the universe, and it is clear, and He is not a matter, He is not bound by time, space and matter, so He doesn't need a cause, He is self-existent, He is incomprehensible. These are the certain things that we assume when we say our God is transcendent. And so how this truth about God, that God being transcendent, is going to affect our worldview, that is another question now, because we are talking about worldview. So this attribute of God, God being transcendent, what that means to our worldview. First of all, how is that affecting our origin, or our understanding about our origin is, that's going to make it definitely a doctrine of creation will only work if God is transcendent and He is the creator of this universe. Then evolution is not even in the picture. So, and at this point I wanted to clarify one thing. Most of us in the Western world know that evolution is just a theory, just like creation. It is not a proven fact, it is not a scientific fact. But people from Eastern world, mainly in countries that are developing, it's almost like taught in schools as though it is a scientific fact, it is proven, it has so much of scientific truth backing it up, which is not true. Evolution is just a theory, just like creation in unbelievers' mind is a theory. So even if you take creation as a theory, then evolution is definitely a theory as well. For a Christian, it is a doctrine of creation, and for a non-Christian, it is a doctrine. It is a theory of creation. But definitely, theory of creation is nothing less or nothing unscientifical about the theory of creation as theory of evolution too. So there are so many flaws. It is not proven. Evolution is not proven as well. So with that, I wanted to say what evolution. It's so much about evolution that we can talk about, but for the sake of this particular video, I'm going to say evolution's assumptions, a theory of evolution assumes that time plus chance plus matter is what we all are. It's about the entire universe and us as human beings and animal and plants and everything we see, everything we don't see, planets, galaxies, everything happened because of time and chance. Time plus matter plus chance. It just happened because that is it. It's just happened by chance. That is what evolution's assumptions are. But when we say creation, or when we say God is transcendent, who created this entire universe, there is someone who is out of this universe, who purposefully created this universe. It is not by chance, but it is purposefully grafted for a reason. Then that makes so much difference. It is day and night. It is, are we all created by just chance, because we just came, it just happened long time, matter just evolved and become what we see? Is that that is one kind of assumption. Another one is there is someone out of this universe and He created everything we see, including humans, animals, plants, planets, galaxies, everything we see for a purpose, for a reason. And all these things have a reason, and that is our difference in origin. So if you believe God is transcendent out of this universe, then we are believing in theory of creation, and there is no chance or no place for theory of evolution to exist in people who believe that God is transcendent. And also when we talk about morality of this life, what do we understand when we say God is transcendent? What does that make of our morality. So that gives us objective standards for our moral. So there is no subjective standards. So all our moral standards come from this God who is transcendent, who is out of this world, who is not bound by human emotions or human feelings. So the standard for moral comes from him. So it doesn't change. So what is right 100 years before is right today, and it will always be right. There are certain things that cannot be changed. So the law of moral, objective standard for our moral, for human beings' moral, will never be changed. It's always true. There are certain things, there are certain doctrines that's always true, which will never be changed. Maybe the understanding of human beings can change about that doctrine, but the truth of God's remains the same. He's immutable. He never changes. It's always, truth is always the truth. So our moral standard comes from objective standard. So the other assumption parallel to that is that it is moral standards are subjective. So what is true for you, what is right for you, is not right for another person. So if we go into that, then if we go into that assumption, then we are going into very dangerous area of then what is an objective truth, what is objective standard, where do we stop? Whatever is true for me, anyone can say according to their feelings and emotion, which is very volatile, very changing. There is no place to stop. So that is another assumption. But if we serve a God who is transcendent, what does that make of our meaning for our life? So what is that? How is that relate to our meaning of our life? So it is very beautiful. So this, when we say our God is transcendent, then this God purposefully crafted everything, universe and the planets and everything, earth and moon and oxygen, everything for the purpose of human beings. And he created every human beings for a specific purpose, because when a creator as that intelligent, as all-knowing God, all-powerful God is creating a specific thing, then that cannot be for uselessness, right? That will be always created for a particular purpose. So we all have a particular purpose, and that purpose, obtaining that purpose or walking towards that purpose, is the meaning for our life. And one of that purposes is to have a fellowship with God, to have connection with God, to worship God. One of those purposes for human beings are to have a communion with God and to always worship God, glorify God. But every single person have a specific purpose as well in God's kingdom. So that is the meaning of our life. So when we say God is transcendent, that makes every human being very purposeful creation of this all-knowing, all-powerful God. And what is, when we say God is transcendent, then what does that mean for our destiny? So I'm not going to talk about a real place called heaven in this, but we are going to be talking about a judgment that happens after this life. So when we say God is transcendent, then by that God who is transcendent, we are going to be judged. So that God who is above and beyond this universe is going to judge us. So that is why when you ask most of the people, will you be going to heaven, then they say, oh yeah, because I am better than most of the people, or I am morally better than most of the people, I have never committed adultery, I have not committed murder or something like that, so I'm better than most of the people. So that's what they say. We are not judged by another human being. So the standards that is set for our judgment is not by a human standard, but by this God who is transcendent is going to set our standards for our judgment. So we are going to be judged by the God transcendent. So that makes that standard very much high. So it is not about, so in a sense, comparing the worst human in the world and the best, morally best human in the world, if you compare the gap, it is not that much comparing the gap of moral depravity between man and God. It's totally uncomparable. He is beyond everything. He is totally set apart. He is perfectly holy. He is perfect in his morality. So it is just impossible for us to fulfill that standard that is set by this transcendent God. So that is our destiny. That's what we need to understand about our destiny. When we say God is transcendent, that makes impossible for any human being to meet that judgment of that transcendent God without a proper atonement. So that's why redemption is important. That's why salvation is important. That's why God's provision is important. That's what it talks about destiny. So when we are saying that God is transcendent, that makes us, our destiny, our judgment, impossible for any human to fulfill without proper salvation. So those are the explanations of our worldview. When we say our God is transcendent, those are the things that is applicable to us in our worldview when we are talking about God's nature as He is transcendent. So with that, we are going to leave you with those thoughts. Maybe you can add more to this in our comment section if you have more things to add about God being transcendent, and if you want to say something about it, definitely leave a comment. If you like this video, like, share and comment, and if you like all our videos, please subscribe to this channel. Like again I said, this is a new series we started about worldview, and if you like this series, please come back next week. We are going to talk about another attribute of God, and then we are going to explain how it affects our worldview, and that is about God who is immanent. The same God who is transcendent also is immanent, and that's what we are going to be talking about, and how that affects our worldview is what we are going to be talking about in the next week video. So please, if you wanted to know about it, come back to our video next week. We are trying to post consistently on Fridays. If you like this video, share and comment and subscribe to our channel. I want to thank you so much for you spending your time with us. May God bless you.